Hello everyone! Welcome back to another 1v1 battle. I'm bringing the Wood Elves versus the Vampire Counts for this one. Since I was facing off against the Vampire Counts, I brought all of my ranged in the air for this one and not on the ground. So my army consists of the two Hawk Riders over here who can double up as very good charge, kind of like Shock Cav. Kinda. We also have the Glade Lord and then another Great Eagle over here, and the idea was to overwhelm their Air Force if they brought them, because a lot of times you'll see like Manfred von Karstein or any kind of vampire on a flying mount to make it easier for the raised dead to hit your ranged units. But the enemy did not bring any flying mounts. Instead, they brought Vlad von Karstein instead. We do have these two Fellbats right here, so I'm just going to let my Great Eagle tank them and do some damage. We're going to eventually kill them with the Great Eagle, and I'm also going to send in our Glade Lord because these two are more than enough to take out some of the Fellbats, and I might as well just take them out right now instead of later. The rest of my army here, you can see my Hawk Riders are going to be pelting these Blood Knights in the back to try and just whittle them down. We have a Branch Wraith with the Pendulum spell and then the AoE heal spell. We have a front line of the Eternal Guards and then Ancient Treemen and then 3 Tree Kin. This is a very durable army I made specifically to fight against hordes and hordes of undead, because that's basically the only thing you see out of Vampire Counts right now. There's really not many surprises in the Vampire Count builds. They're gonna be a lot of hordes of undead because of the spawn raised dead ability. This army here that the enemy brought, we have a front line of Skeletal Warriors, 4 Graveguard, including the Stearnsman, the Tithe, Blood Knight, 2 Black Knights, and a White King. And it looks like their idea here was to overwhelm my front line with just a bunch of units and sturdy units with the Skeletal Warriors and the Graveguard behind them, and then the Summoned Raised Dead behind my front line, and then smash into my archers with all of these Cav, and perhaps beat my Cav if I brought Wild Riders with these Blood Knights, because Blood Knights would do pretty well against them. But I didn't bring any Wild Riders. I brought all my stuff in the air here. So again, we're just doing some basic damage against these Blood Knights. Not too much, but they are a target that I really want to take out because they can do a lot of damage to all of our large units here. So definitely want to take them out. We have mostly destroyed the 2 Fellbats back there, and now we're going to send our 2 units over here to assist against what's going on over here. It looks like the opponent wants to try and charge me, or is at least putting pressure on my right side, and they eventually actually will charge into my Eternal Guard over here, which I honestly was not expecting because the rest of their army is way back here. But we're going to take this charge along with our Branch Wraith. We're going to deal some damage. The White King is going to be over here as well. Meanwhile, the other Black Knight is going to be hitting this flank as well, which I did not notice because I was too busy looking at my screen. About like right here is what I was looking at. And so these Black Knights are going to get a rear charge against my Eternal Guard, which is bad. Still pelting the Blood Knights, and we're trying to get the White King into this mix, and we do. We kind of trap them, so we're going to do some damage to them. And we're also going to try and catch these Black Knights on their way out and try to murder them as well. Meanwhile, still getting chased by the Fellbats, which are not really that high of a priority. But we're going to finish them off all the same. You can see the Black Knights did take some damage, but they are getting out briefly. Meanwhile, on the left side, these Black Knights did also take some damage, but they dealt more to our Eternal Guard. I'm doing an AoE heal here on our Great Eagle, Hawk Riders, and all of the units down here that took some melee damage from that charge of the Blood Knights, or the Black Knights. The Glade Lord here got caught with the Fellbats, and I thought I gave her the order to fly, but she is kind of getting caught out here in the open, so we're going to do a rear charge on these Black Knights with the Hawk Riders, and you can see just the massive amount of damage that their armor piercing can do on the charge, and we're bringing in the rest of our army to go over here and assist them. You can see Invocation from the Heck being dropped by the Vlad von Karstein, and again, this engagement I think is a little early, since the rest of the army is way back here, but this opponent really just wanted to get their Cav in here, so I'm like, okay. So we're going to pour in some forces over here to finish off the Black Knights. I was trying to catch the Blood Knights with my Tree Man and my Hawks. We do some damage to them, but they're going to heal through a lot of that, and they're going to cycle charge here. Black Knight's still dealing with my Eternal Guard over here with shields, which I'm totally okay with. And I'm going to leave this White King back here for right now because they're not really microing the White King. So I'm like, okay, let's heal the Blood Knights. So all of our Hawk Riders, our Glade Lord is also going to be back here. We're going to do a rear charge on the Blood Knights while we hit them in the front with our Eternal Guard and the Tree Kin. And the Blood Knights are just going to melt under all the armor-piercing damage of the Hawk Riders in the back and the Spearmen in the front. Going to do another AoE heal on our Hawk Riders and all the units over here with my Branch Wraith. Meanwhile, Vlad von Karstein's over here just kind of dealing with some Tree Men, which is totally okay with me. Again, here we go. The White King is going to get microed into our Eternal Guard with shields, which I'm okay with. Right here, I netted the Stearnsman because I did not want them coming into combat. The rest of the Graveguard are going to be going over here along my left flank. I'm going to leave these Tree Men out here to just try and block some of the Graveguard because they can take a lot of those. And then our Eternal Guard are going to engage right here. Meanwhile, we have dealt with the Blood Knights at this point. They still do have a group of Black Knights, so they're going to be coming over here behind my Eternal Guard, which is okay. Which we're actually going to assist right here and get into this White King with some of our Hawk Riders. Kind of all over the place here. We got Treekin holding off some Skeletal Warriors here. I'm throwing in our Ancient Treeman into all these Skeletal Warriors because he can just tank all of these things for days. because that's what Ancient Treemen are really good at doing. And meanwhile, I'm trying to set up a penumbral pendulum over here, so we're going to get one of those off soonish, and I'm going to target this massive group of melee right here. Meanwhile, I'm just micromanaging our air cav here, these Hawk Riders, our Glade Lord, and our Great Eagle. I'm trying to do rear charges where I need them. So we rear charge this area, we deal some more damage to the White King. I think I'm going to pull on my Great Eagle out here soon. I think we're going to finish off these Black Knights. You can see we're kind of descending upon the skies and getting into their backs there. Meanwhile, we're getting into these backs of the Grave Guard. Ancient Treemen and Treekin are just going to be holding off the rest of the infantry, including Vlad von Karstein up there, because they are very good at just tanking out multiple infantry units, as long as they're not like armor-piercing and anti-large, which of course these Grave Guard are not. So the Air Force is going to go over here and assist against our right flank, against the Skeletal Warriors and all of these units that are being summoned by Vlad von Karstein. Just a massive amount of melee just going on over here. Just so many units, because there's going to be even more being spawned in from Vlad von Karstein. Like right there, there's some more zombies right there. But the Ancient Tree Man and the Treekin are just doing very well at holding off all of these frontline warriors. And my Air Force is just, again, just doing rear charges where I want them. We're getting a charge in against these Skeletal Warriors Grave Guard over there. Lots kind of going on. And eventually, we should get the Pendulum spell sometime soon. But these Eternal Guard are still just kind of tanking out. There it is. This White King. I'm trying to pull out these Eternal Guard real quick. So there we go. We catch this whole clump of Grave Guard and Skeletal Warriors. Do a lot of damage there. Then we re-engage with the Eternal Guard. I don't really want to try and fight Vlad von Karstein, because if we land on him, he can just summon units around us, keep us on the ground, and potentially kill us. Our Hawk Riders, while very devastating on the charge, can easily get picked off in melee. Same thing with our Glade Lord and our Great Eagle. So the thing is, Vlad is very tanky, and if we charge on him, it's possible we can kill him, but he can just summon a bunch of undead around us, and that could be a bad thing for our flying units. So we're not going to do that. We're going to continue using our Hawk Riders just as surgical strikes. I think we're going to use them to attack these Grave Guards soon. Right now, my Glade Lord is just pelting arrows into the back of Vlad von Karstein, trying to chew through some of his regeneration that he has. So that's what we're doing over there. And over here, we're just in a massive melee against Skeletal Warriors and summoned units. Same thing over here. We did a lot of damage to the Grave Guard, but there are still more Skeletal Warriors, more summons being summoned into this fight. Treekin have been holding off this for a long time. Ancient Tree Man, same thing. They're built to be a wall, and they are very effective at that right now. These Stearnsmen that I netted, my opponent must have clicked like an attack order, and they must be doing this. I'm betting their camera angle is just like this, and I totally understand, because I always forget to micro units that are out of my camera range. So netting these was supposed to be a temporary thing, but they're actually going to be out of the fight for a long time, because my opponent is not going to realize that they are not in the fight. Meanwhile, we're doing some more surgical strikes back here into the rear of the Grave Guard. Again, the Hawk Riders are so devastating on the charge, especially if you charge into the backs of an enemy unit. Their armor piercing damage is so strong. More zombies being summoned here, but again, my army is built to withstand just hordes and hordes of undead with these very tanky trees and the Eternal Guard. Not as tanky, but still, they're pretty good. And then our Glade Guard, or sorry, Hawk Riders are just free to just do these surgical strikes, and we're slowly destroying the flanks of my enemy. I'm leaving Vlad von Karstein for last because he is so tanky. I don't really want to commit my forces there to try and do a prolonged fight against him, because again, it could be risky. So I'm pretty okay with just destroying the rest of their army. You see some shots going into the Stearnsmen right over here. I didn't target that. They just are doing that because they're on fire will. So here we go. We finally wrap up the right flank full of the tight zombies and the Skeletal Warriors, and we're going to slam them into over here, into the center. We're going to support the Tree Man, who at this point has taken a lot of damage. There you go. You can see one of my units. I mean, they're nearly dead. But again, I'm not microing them because they're out of my camera range, and I never look at my unit cards. It's something I need to do, but I never do it. So right here, we managed to actually knock Vlad von Karstein out of this area. I forget. I think it was a charge with one of our Hawks or something. Anyway, we knocked him out of this formation, so that's when we're going to pounce on him, because he is now by himself. So we're charging with our Hawk Riders, our Glade Lord, our Great Eagle, doing some decent amount of damage. You can see he has already regenerated so much in this battle. As to be expected, Vlad von Karstein is a very tanky, very tanky hero. Meanwhile, over here, you can kind of see we're basically going to win this fight unless something drastically changes. The Stearnsmen are going to be microed here in just a moment. My opponent here is going to finally notice them. I've been holding on to my net spell on the Glade Lord for just this occasion, so we're going to net these poor Stearnsmen into place for a second time, and they are not going to get to see combat. Meanwhile, we pulled away from Vlad von Karstein because he summoned some zombies, and I didn't want to take that damage, so we're just over here destroying the rest of the Grave Guard and the Skeletal Warriors as the Stearnsmen are just netted again. They just wanted to see combat. And now it's been a very long, very slow, just grueling fight of attrition between trees and hordes of undead. But you can see we are probably going to win this one at this point. Vlad von Karstein is still alive, but there's just so many forces that we have. And I think at this point he has summoned most of the race that he can. So now we're going to throw in these Shrieken into the Sternsmen. Arrow Kronos at the back of Vlad. And it's just kind of just a matter of time at this point. Now, could the Sternsmen have changed this fight to the point where they would have won it? I doubt it, but still, I mean, it definitely would have helped. But that's just the thing. And again, I do it all the time. It depends on what your camera angle is. And ideally, I think what you may want to do is actually fight from the perspective of your enemy. Because most of the units that you have that will route are going to route towards your deployment zone. So if, let's say, like, this is my deployment zone. So they're going to route, you know, off camera. It happens all the time. But if you're bad at noticing that happening, like I am, and like what this player was, because those pro Sternsmen were just netted out of their camera view, I'm again guessing. If you play from the opponent's perspective, then you can at least see all your units routing back and you can put them into combat. Or you can just look at the mini-map, see that you have a dot out in the middle of nowhere, or look at your unit cards and see that they're not doing anything. Those are other options, but like I always forget to look at the unit cards, I always forget to look at the mini-map. I've said this many times before. So another suggestion is, if you don't look at those two things, then just use the battle from the perspective of your opponent, so it's easier to track your routing units, unless, of course, they route into your enemy's deployment zone, which is possible. But for the most part, they're going to route out towards yours in most cases. So anyway, good game to my opponent, bringing, what's his nickname? Daddy Vlad? Daddy... I can't remember his nickname. I've seen it posted here and there. Anyway, let's go to the kill count. So you can see my kill count on all of our units is pretty high because my enemy brought 1,400 soldiers to our 442. And then on top of that, all of these summoned units that came later with the skeletons and the zombies being summoned. But again, I made this army to withstand the hordes of undead, and it did that job pretty well. The killing power of this army lied within their Cav and the White King, but I think they were frustrated into charging a little early. I think, because it didn't really make much sense for their charge to happen when the main army was so far back, because I was just sitting there pelting their Blood Knights with Hawk Riders, and I can understand that. Like, part of the Wood Elf tactics, I think, is skirmishing very annoying strategies to frustrate your opponent into making mistakes, and charging their Knights in a little prematurely was definitely a mistake, because it allowed us to set up a hammer and anvil with our Hawk Riders and our flying force, and we managed to actually destroy the damaging potential, the damaging part of their army before the infantry even got there. So I guess it worked. The annoyingness of the Wood Elves worked in this case. So the kill count over here, not as high, but again, we brought a much smaller army here. So 43 kills in a Graveguard is still really good. 16 on a Blood Knight is pretty good. Same thing with these Black Knights. These Sternsmen, though, that was kind of a big deal. Again, I don't know if they would have changed the fight to the point where the enemy would have won, but, you know, it definitely couldn't have hurt. So, that is unfortunate that they were out of the fight. And then I netted them again when they were finally microed back into the battle. I kind of felt bad about that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the battle against the Vampire Counts, everybody. I'm trying to do a build with the male Glade Lord, who I think is definitely worse, but is more melee focused. They have the Foe Seeker, they have the +8 to melee aura around them, and then what's the other one? The damage buff, the self-damage buff. I can't remember what it's called. So I'm going to try and maybe bring a video with that guy, because who uses that guy? I've never seen the male Glade Lord in multiplayer, so I might as well give him a shot, even though I think he sucks only in comparison with the other Glade Lord, because she is only like 80 gold more than he is, and she is just so much better. So yeah, I'll try and do another Wood Elf build with him, and probably like Wild Riders or something. But anyway, let's go watch a cinematic view of the battle. Here they come! I got those black knights over there taking out my other 2 on guard. Kind of surprised my Glade Lord didn't take that much damage from this engagement, considering she was surrounded by knights. That's a lot of wings, a lot of feathers. Jeez, it's just a giant group of wings. It's like a swarm of piranha, and then they leave and they're all dead. That's pretty cool. I never noticed that before. You just get all these wings. Anyway. And again, when they are done, nothing is left but corpses. Well, I guess there were corpses before. Anyway. Looks like that was a Curse of Years dropped over here. Oh, that pendulum spell should be happening soon. You're so cool. Kind of hard to see it, but it's cool. God, those eagle animations are just so cool. Jesus. Do it again. Oh, again pulled out. And the tree still... Oh, there we go. So the Great Eagle knocks Vlad way out of the formation. Not intentional. You can definitely make it intentional. Come in from the right angle and you can knock someone like Vlad out of the formation on purpose. But this is just on accident. But that is a very useful tactic against the unmounted foes. Some massive feathers and bark. Oh man, they both did it! Great Eagle and the Glade Lord both went in for that, throwing people up in the air. Oh man, that's so cool. You know, I know like dragons are cool, but man, having the forest dragon, dude, it's all about the eagles. No! That eagle was just gently soaring like 5 feet above the ground and then died. And there we go. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. I will see you all in the next battle. Take care.